King Charles has urged a summit of Commonwealth leaders to commit to learning the lessons of the past, but he didn't directly address the issue of reparations for slavery. The King said it was time to find creative ways to right inequalities that endure within the Commonwealth of 56 nations, most of them linked to the former British Empire. Some leaders have said that they want the gathering in Samoa to debate the issue of reparations for Britain's historical role in the Atlantic slave trade.
Our cohesion requires that we acknowledge where we have come from. I understand from listening to people across the Commonwealth how the most painful aspects of our past continue to resonate. It is vital, therefore, that we understand our history to guide us to make the right choices in the future. Where inequalities exist, for example, in access to opportunity, to education, to skills training, to employment, to health, and to a planet in whose climate our human race can both survive and thrive, we must find the right ways and the right language to address them.
Well, the British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has already ruled out an apology for the country's role in the slave trade, and the Chancellor Rachel Reeves says that Britain will not pay reparations. Sir Keir's been speaking to our political editor Chris Mason, who's travelled with the Prime Minister to the summit in Samoa.
Leadership involves many things: decision-making, accountability and ceremony. This the Samoan welcome for Prime Ministers and Presidents. Some Commonwealth members want the UK and others to compensate them for the impact of slavery. There is a debate the King referred to here in the broadest terms.
None of us can change the past, but we can commit with all our hearts to learning its lessons and to finding creative ways to right inequalities that endure.
It wasn't an endorsement of so-called reparations, compensation, but a nod to the anger the issue provokes for some. The Prime Minister has ruled out reparations.
Yes, but like everybody else. I think we should be clear from the outset that the slave trade, slave practice was abhorrent. And it's very important that we start from that place. And of course, that matters hugely to many of the countries that are represented here. My posture, if you like, my focus is on the forward look, not the sort of backward look.
I want to understand the nature of your objection. Is it a financial one, or is it a moral, philosophical one? Can our generation be held responsible for the actions of our forebears?
Well, I think our generation can say the slave trade and practice was abhorrent, and we should. You know, we talk about our history. We can't change our history, but we should certainly talk about our history and be
say
clear
that, but
about
not
that.
Apologise, not pay any money.
Well, look, you know, I think that we recognise that, and of course, apologies have already been made in relation to the slave trade, and that's not surprising. It's what you would expect. But if you then go on to the question, we're 55 countries here represented. And say in the conversations I've already had, what are the things that have come up most? I can tell you their resilience, they're a real concern, particularly with some of the smaller countries, about the impact of climate on them and how we can help with international institutions, financial institutions, to unlock money that might help them.
You find yourself in the last couple of days embroiled in a row with Donald Trump over a loosely worded social media post by a Labour staffer and something of a transatlantic spat breaking out over alleged electoral interference by the Labour Party. Does it worry you that, or is it just classic election campaigning, electioneering going on in America?
This needs to be seen for what it is. These are Labour Party members and staff who are on a voluntary basis in their own time going to campaign in the election. It's happened every election. Every political party does it.
If Donald Trump can kick you around like this as a candidate, what might it be like if he wins the presidency?
I've met Donald Trump. We had dinner together in New York just a few weeks ago. The reason we did that was, I think, a shared endeavour. We both wanted to make sure we had a good working relationship. The relationship between our two countries is a special relationship. We both recognise that.
And the Prime Minister is still building international relationships 4 months into the role. This one of many meetings here, seeing his Australian opposite number.